It's like it's just all bugs, bro. Only thing you can consider a nerf is the pushback to that, maybe. All right, so you guys know why we're here. I have a smile on my face. You can see me smiling, you know, you can see my pearly whites, but yeah, so we're going to talk today about Miguel season 4 changes. A lot to unpack. Now, to be honest with you, this video could go on for 2-3 hours. I could talk, there's so much to unpack. Even though the list isn't as long as, like, you know, previous seasons in terms of Miguel changes, like season 2, there's a lot of implications and a lot of results in terms of how Miguel's going to be played, not only now, but in the future, going into Tekken 8 and stuff like that. New move, which is this. Now, my initial thoughts about this move. When I first saw it, without having access to the season 4 patch via some random European streamer, no diss to Europeans, of course, but so when I first saw it, I was like, yo, let's just be honest. The animation of this move is horrendous. It's horrendous. If he like cocked his fist back, like I did like that, and then did it, it would have been better. So that animation is horrible, but the second animation is really good. I feel like that punch is pretty cool, pretty tight. It fits Miguel, and that's a good animation, pretty much. And it goes into the salve pretty well, pretty smooth. So in terms of this move, it is a great move, obviously. You know, it's the trend what they've been doing with this Tekken 7 season 4 in terms of filling in the gaps, you know what I mean? It's like they're playing, what was that game, Tetris or something? They're just trying to fill in the blocks, you know? Miguel's 12 frame punishment was horrible. And he never just had something, a go-to quick punish. You know, the closest thing was this or that, which is, you know, it's meh, right? But his best punish really was 13 frame. But anything 10 to 13, the range was horrible, right? Range was bad. So out in this distance, something like a 12 frame poke, like Bob's down forward 4, you know, something like that. Bob's down forward 4, or what, Kazuya forward 4, I believe, or definitely Jin forward 4. That was his gap in his gameplay, and it's been like what that since Tekken 6. Is he was bad in his range, something quick, you know, something to respond to. So you have to set up salve, you know, try and get something like that. So they made that -9, right? Make that safe. But really, the most viable thing in a high level play, in my opinion, was 4-4. He did that, and which is 17 frames, I believe. So he never had nothing good. So now he has something good to where, you know, he can just backdash a couple times and then bow, right? It works with the spiral, was super quick, right? So he'll be able to catch things kind of similar to Savage 1-1, kind of similar to that. But that's also 12 frames, right? Yeah, so it's really similar to that, but just you don't need Sav in terms of using it as a spiral. Yeah, it's similar to that, but you just don't need it. And see, it can do stuff like that. So it's pretty good. 10 frame, you're plus 10, like a normal spiral hit, right? You're plus 10, but I can go into Savage now. So that's, wow, that's amazing, right? Because now I'm plus 10 in this environment. So you already know what I can do. You can get started. It's party time. You know what I mean? You already know what I can do. Stuff like that, right? Boom, boom, like do stuff like that, uninterruptible. And look, I can just do anything. Only problem is similar to this move. It kind of leaves you in a far distance, kind of like that, to where I'm plus 8 on there, I believe. Because I don't actually have the frame data app. Usually I use the Tekken Bot Prime for PC. But it hasn't updated yet, so I don't have access to frame data on hand, like live frame data. But normally that's plus 8. Only problem, it kind of leaves you super far, right? This kind of does the same thing, but it's plus 10. But you can still, things can still reach. Like, of course, you do that, it'll still reach. You know, you do this as long as it's close. But if you hit them far, then it won't reach. So you got to watch out for that. To where it's best when this is against the wall, not only because it can wall splat. Only because it can wall splat, but also you're close to the wall, which means that there's no gap, right? so I can be close to you upon successfully hitting you with this move, whether it's a normal hit or a counter hit. If I hit you right here, then see I'm close to you right now, right? So that's something to consider. Great move, not only for using it as a combo filler, but even though I still would prefer this, it's not really that necessary as a combo filler. Because there's a lot of, there's a gap between when you can move again. Versus this, I'm already moving, and he hasn't even hit the ground yet. His back hasn't touched the ground. But when I do this, then you see now I can move, but at that time he's already on the ground. So there's less time to get a hit in. It's more strict, similar to 3-4, where it's not really good because there's a lot of lag time. So I would still go for it down for 2-2. You know? But overall, great move, and use this as a punisher, a whip punisher, because for the first time he has a valid whip punisher. This is now changed from 12 to 17 frames. Great addition, great addition. Now, if you watch my other video, my Buff Miguel video, you would know, my first Buff Miguel video, you would know that I said, hey man, he should be able to transition from Sav out of this. That's what I rather want to see, is hold forward and to go into Sav like that. But changing it from plus, or was it the second hit? Yeah, the second hit is now 17, it's not 12, so now it gives you 30 damage instead of 25. Assumingly, I mean, just not taking into account damage scaling, I assume it gave you 25 last time, but now it gives you a total of 30, right? It's natural, it's very hit confirmable, very hit confirmable. Like, it couldn't be more hit confirmable if it wanted to. So now you get a 30 damage combo. It is unsafe though. I think it's like -14 or something, or it might, I think it's like -14 or something like that. So you want to just throw this out until you wait till you see the hit and then release it. Wall splats, of course. So it's a good addition, good little damage, you know. That stuff adds up. But the utility of this move isn't really good, despite how many times they buff it. This is the second time already they buffed it. I think they increased the window, increased the damage. Now they increase the damage again. So despite that, it's super slow. What is it, like 19? It's like, it's either 18 through 20 is the speed, I forget. Obviously it was 19 frames. It's very slow, no evasive properties, not much reward for hitting it. The reward is now increased, but you know, overall it's cool. But you know, you don't want to be, there's so many better things to throw out because of season 4 that you don't want to just be throwing that out. You would rather throw out something like this. Oh. Yeah, throw out a laugh, because now Miguel is fucking legit because he got some good ass buffs, right? But nah, not that. You want to throw out stuff like this, throw out stuff like this, we'll talk about it. Throw out stuff like this, that, and you want to throw out stuff like this. This is kind of obsolete. It's like worse than his other options. 4-4. Wow. Now where do we even begin with this? So I made a Buff Miguel video about wanting to see more Sav transitions. And you know, I thought about putting 4-4 as a requested change, but I didn't actually do that because I'm like, okay, in this situation, he's +7. This is a safe move. Of course, you don't include that move, but if you just think about 4-4, it's safe on block. It's +7 on hit. Mind you, you're not close to the opponent, which is ideal for Miguel. But it's +7 on hit, so it's kind of cheap to be +7 on hit from a safe homing mid, and with the ability to go to Savage Stance. So I'm like, nah, I didn't put that on there. I wanted you to be able to transition from Savage out of this, hold forward out of that, hold forward out of that, cancel this into Sav, all stuff like that. But this I felt was too cheap, but they went ahead and added that. The thing I thought was too cheap, they added that stuff in there. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. Maybe they just watched my video and they're like, yeah, he does need this type of Sav transition. Let me just play Russian, let me play a roulette, right? Let me play the Price is Right. you know, turn down the wheel. All right, let's do on that one. You know, but so you know, that's really good. Obviously, it's really good. Now, a common trend with these changes, I feel that is that when something is changed, people are like, "Oh man, for Miguel, wow, that's a stupid buff, man. That's dumb. That's way too good." People are already saying that. We haven't even field tested it like that to that extent, right? But people say that, but at the same time, they're not seeing that a change needed to be made for a lot of these moves. But it just, maybe that was too far. But where it stood before season 4, it definitely needed to be changed. Something needed to happen to this move. I say all the good things about it, but in reality, in high level play, you're doing stuff like this because you have nothing to rely on. You can't rely on what's that move? That. You can't rely on that. It's too linear and too predictable. You can sidestep into your dead. You can't rely on this. It's evasive, but you can only throw it out a limited amount of times because it's like -12 or something, right? You can't rely on this because that's high and slow as crap. So who's gonna get hit by that? This one is good to come in, but you can easily fuzzy that. Or if you just block right, then it's both of them have holes. You duck that, and that's -13 now. It used to be -14, it's -13. So both of them have flaws. So getting in is just risky with Miguel. So he wants to use good spacing. By the way, I'm on a K stick, and I'm not used to it right now, so I can't simulate good spacing. But he wants to do good spacing, get in, and then do a down 4-1. Predictable. Now he has this now, because you did that before, like I said, but it didn't do anything. You know, you just +7, right? You threw that out if you knew it was going to get a hit, but if not, then you're getting punished. So now he has something legitimate to where it's like, yo, I can go into Saf from here. So you don't know what I'm gonna do. I can not do anything. Sidestep, backdash, with punish. I don't have to go into Saf. I can just use +7, right? If I'm against the wall, then I do that, right? I can go into Saf and do anything since I'm +7, assuming they didn't change that property. Because if I were to put that in my Buff Miguel video, I would have said, yo, reduce the plus frames on this move to like +4 or +3 or something. Then okay, it's fine if you can transition to Savage Stance. But if I'm +7, again, you guys can check it for me. But yeah, if I'm +7, then that's good. I have all control in the world. I'm controlling the viewpoint. I'm controlling the game. This is as comfortable as I can be in terms of getting into Savage Stance. If it's blocked, I'm safe. It's a homing, so it's going to impact you. It's a mid, and if I hit you, I'm +7 with Sav. So this is as comfortable as he's ever been getting into Savage Stance. Very good for Miguel. You know, balance-wise, questionable. You know, but again, something needed to be done with that move. As it stood alone, being his only reliable long-range poke, slow. It's still slow though, 17 frames. So, you know, something needed to be done, but maybe not that much. Even still, good move. And you don't want to do this. You think it's high. You think they're gonna fuzzy sidestep duck or something. Then just do this. And if you hit, you're +7. You were already this close anyway. So you're +7, then now you're still in Sav. So you still continue to rack it. So you guys know and watch my ranked compilation highlights and how I could play. I like to constantly be in and out of Sav and stuff and constantly do strings. This buff was for me, you know what I'm saying? And for you guys, but for me, you know what I mean? So, good stuff, man. Let's move on. Okay, also things I asked for in my Buff Miguel video that I made a 1.5 years ago. You gotta do stuff with this. Like, you gotta increase properties on that. It's already super risky and super noob friendly to do stuff like that, but it is in his repertoire. Miguel, again, is known for having a lot of holes in his offense, a lot of ways to duck, punish, bad frames. So if I successfully get something like this, or something like that, or something like this, especially if I get a counter hit on that, then you gotta give me some reward, you know? Because these moves aren't godlike. So, and then when you saw season 3.30, they added stuff like this, right? Then that was good. That was good, because give me some reward. If everybody's going to be looking to interrupt, duck, like there's obvious holes in that gameplay. I mean, if you study Miguel for just 5 minutes, you can find that out. It's not foolproof, right? It's not toxic or cheap. So good players always get hit by stuff like that. They always get hit by stuff like that. By this move. Because they look to, okay, he did that. All right, let me sidestep, let me punch him, let me interrupt him, let me do some what's one of these moves called? Something like that, right? Something that can soak in a move. You can tell how rusty I am with attacking in general. So you can do something like that, right? So they always look to interrupt. So bam, bam, did you give him some reward? So a knockdown was needed. Even though it'll be better if it was like a stun, but it didn't need to be a full combo. So I think this was a very good buff when they did something like that, right? In the same way with what they did in terms of Tekken 7, because Tekken 6 he didn't have that where he did that, but that's really good because he can. I mean, it's better than nothing. Ideally, again, he would like them to be standing. It'd be better, but. And I made that video of how Miguel should be played, so you can watch that. But something like that, right? It's the same way as this. If you get to this point, it is a mix-up between mid and low. But at the same time, if it's a counter hit, I think he should get some reward. Counter hit before this, it just sent him flying. It knocked him down. It didn't wall splatted them, but it just knocked him down. Didn't do anything. You rather get a counter hit with this because you could set up good Oki. You can set up good Oki and guaranteed hit after. So now we have a counter hit where bam, I get a full combo, which is similar to what it did in Tekken 6. I made that video, you should go watch it. So, oops. So you can get a full combo now. Something like that, right? So, yeah, a good change. It's not going to be super consequential because most players, especially at a higher level, aren't going to successfully get stuff like that often, you know? Maybe knowledge check or just through mix-ups. Good change though. Now we have this one. So first thing I noticed about that is that it has more of a wind-up animation. The animation comes different. It's like he's winding up his punch more. I actually like the animation better. Maybe it could be placebo, but I think the animation is better. It feels like he really winds it up more, you know? It feels more impactful. Having said all that, now let's see. First off, let's talk about the pushback, which is the perceived if there's any nerf in his season 4, it's the pushback to this move where it's further, right? Which kind of sucks because now you can't get stuff like this. That if they depending on how they woke up, that would be a guaranteed hit if they woke up certain ways. I don't remember, I made a video about that, but I think if they woke up in any way besides holding back, then it would hit them, given you were close, you know. But now that it's further, that's not really a good option since it hits them further back. Even having said all that, thing that I remember, I believe Sevi Black he discovered is that obviously it's a guaranteed hit when you do this, when you do that, and that still seems to be the case. So at least that's still there, right? To where, yeah, if they get up certain ways, then like if they stand up or something, then you can get the full thing pretty much. But regardless, this part is a guaranteed hit still. So it's not whatever. On the hitbox, it hits them better when they're in the air. So you can hit them with this while they're on the left side of the character. It still hits. Before it whiff of stuff like that. When you hit them in certain angles, it whiff. Now it's more consistent. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it leaves you, isn't that what it says? It leaves you closer. Increase the distance, reduce the strength of the pushback. To me, it seems like it leaves you closer. See, when you hit them in the air, It doesn't send them as far, in my opinion. I could be wrong. A lot of times these changes are kind of ambiguous in terms of the wording. Long story short is the fact that this goes from +3 frames to +4 frames means that this is now a viable, this is now one of his cornerstone important pokes out of his offense. Before it was this and that. Those were his most important pokes. Now you have to include this in there. So now he has this, that, and this in terms of comfortably getting to his offense. Because if you successfully hit that, I'm +5, I'm close to you. If I successfully hit you with this, I'm +5 with the ability to go into savage stance right in your grill. And that's where matches turn around, you know what I mean? So you do stuff like boom, boom, bam, 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 you know what I mean? Stuff like that. You just keep going. So the fact that you can do this as +4 means that, what was the problem with this move before? Like I said, it may have been overbuff, but as it stood where it currently was, it was below average. Something needed to happen because this was +3. Now Miguel can't do much on +3. All he can do is trade with the down forward 1 because all his stuff that was faster than 13 frames were high, which even includes this new move, which is high. So he had nothing that was quick, that was mid, that was quicker than 13 frames. So literally I can't, well, I say that because I can't reliably hit somebody who's low poking, who's doing a dig jab on me after I do this. I have to respect a dig jab. Either by trying to sidestep, I have to respect, like, it's nobody's turn after that if I'm +3. You know what I mean? Because I can't do my basic offense starter like that. If he's not at least +4, then the plus frames are worthless. I mean, you have to think about Miguel like that. If he's not at least +4, you know. So the fact that it's +4 means that I can now do this. I can get into savage stance, and they don't go as far back. So I can do this, which is I can trade with a jab or a dig jab. But if they don't do anything 10 frames, then I have access to a homing move out of savage stance, right? Again, like I said, not interruptible at all. For the first time, I can do a move out of down back 3 that's not interruptible. And this is huge. Like I said, this is now one of his important pokes that you begin your offense with, which changes the whole dynamic of Miguel. Because if I'm approaching you, kind of know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do that, right? I'm coming in, I'm going to do this. Because what else am I going to do? There's no consequence to ducking Miguel because he doesn't have any scare bits. So you're going to get hit by this, you know what I mean? This or something like that. But you know a high is coming like that. You know a high is coming. So you can safely always be looking for a low with Miguel. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no fear in ducking him. But now that he has stuff like this and that, you don't. Now I can vary between mid and high in terms of how I'm going to start my offense or how I'm going to put you in a -4 or a -5 situation, which changes everything. So if I'm here and it's my turn, then what am I going to do? Boom. Now, like, I can do this, do the grab, do this, do that. That's 12 frames, which means that comes out 8 frames from my opponent's perspective. Bam. That's now 0 frames. So it's anybody's game. I can do a jab, and then you got to respond with a jab, right? So it's so important. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. This move right here. Now, first off, let's give a round of applause to the fact that they finally fixed the jank animation of this. Ever since Tekken 6, this animation to where he rotated his hand in a weird way, like he's having a seizure or something. I don't know what he's doing, but he was spazzing for sure. But now they fixed it to where it's better, not perfect, but he kind of halts the backwards movement of his right arm, so it looks better, and it flows into that better visually. That's cool. Now they make this homing. Wow, that's what move doesn't track with Miguel? You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, did he need that? I mean, he already had this, but that wasn't safe. But now this guy has a safe option. I mean, a safe string, because remember, if you block this, I'm safe still. This is natural. I'm like +5 on that. And it's not in salve. Remember, his best homing moves were in salve, right? So he had stuff like this, stuff like what does he have? Stuff like this. You know what I mean? Now he has this too. And out of salve, he has this, that, and that. So he has so many options out of Savage Stance. But realistically, the best that's not Savage is this. Realistically. And the best and Savage is this, and now this, right? But now this is added to that list in terms of, if you think they're gonna sidestep, bam, bam. That's a nice meaty 37. I'm +5, all right? And if you block it or something, then I'm still safe, right? Really good. Now this is why I'm saying at this point, you can make the argument that he no longer needs hitbox buffs to stuff like that, to stuff like this, to stuff like this. He no longer needs hitbox buffs because he has so many homing options that it can be argued, yo, just use the homing options. You don't need to use the, you know, you don't, his hitboxes doesn't need to be expanded because he already has designated options for that, right? Because that's good as a homing. And that makes it worthwhile because remember, this move was only used in Tekken 6 in the wall or something as a two-hitting bound move. It was called bound, not spiral, back in the day. So that's why this move was used and bounded. But without it, it's been useless until now. Now that's a good transition for it to get some use. So great move. Not only on my Buff Miguel video did I request for the move to be changed to +4 on block, but I also requested for the move's hitbox to be expanded downwards. And both of those things happen. So can you not tell me they didn't watch my Buff Miguel video? Say what I said in the Buff Miguel video? It's like, yo, can this be from +3 to +4? I already talked about how Miguel can't use +3 really. But now that this is +4 and the hitbox has been expanded downward, you have to include this in the list of valid moves Miguel can use to get in. We already know the buff to this, right? We already know that. But now you have to include this, to where before this was kind of risky. It's linear. If they blocked it, then you're only +3. So there's so many things the opponent can do, sidestep, whatever, that I can just, and Miguel's hitboxes were already super linear, so it wasn't that good. Now it's +4. Again, at the very baseline level, they can't interrupt that. At the very baseline level, you know. And this is now, think about that, I'm point blank and I have the ability to go into Savage Stance. But now something like this, just instant 14 frames. Now it will trade with anything they do, but if they don't do a 10 frame move, then it's a guaranteed hit. So just this alone is, just this and that alone is more viable. I mean, it's possible. So his offense has changed completely in terms of just getting into his sets, you know? Well, you guys know I made a whole video on Savage 1 and everything you can do out of it. So imagine they buffed this tremendously, made that a natural for some reason, you know. And then you already have the options. You already have the options out of this, right? Then you already have this very hit confirmable stuff like that, And this is already +6, so it already put you in this situation. But now will they block it? I believe it was -2 before. Yeah, it was -2. See, I remember the frames. Not even just reading it, I always remember those -2. But that's -2 now, 0. You already know what this means, man. We're in business. We're in there, you know? Something like me, and I recommend you, based on the video, like always mix that into your offense, right? Always mix that in, you know? And so once you mix that in, they block it. I have so many options to delay that and do that. To delay that and do that. To even delay this and do that. Because remember, this is hit confirmable too. I mean, or you can delay it and still get a natural. See? Very hit confirmable. You do this, that wall bounce, that's a natural combo. It wall bounce and it's -10, but there's so much pushback that you're not gonna get punished. So many good options out of it. Now when they block it, it's -0. But pretty much you can just time it to where, you can do it again and it's a 12 frame. So they may not respond with something as fast as that. Or you could do, it's a great strategy, because at that point, then you'll trade if they do a 10 frame. You know, so you get into your sets, boom, damn, bam, 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 or something like that. And then if they don't know Miguel, they don't know when to attack. You know what I mean? Or you go, or you go, delay that, boom, and they'll get hit by that. You know, but they'll already be getting hit by the 1-2 because they're not knowing when to attack. Because if I'm 0 frames on that, then it's fair game to do that, right? That's a frame trap. And you already know what the 11 frame, or not that, but it's just so many mix of options you can do. Bam, 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 then boom, you get them with that, right? Just do it twice, and then boom, and then do the back one. That's 11 frames. Comes out in 11 frames. That's 0, neutral, right? And then that's the counter hit. Then you already know I made the whole video to that. What you do with the counter hit in terms of yeah, just do anything. But yeah, so that's a whole nother video again in terms of Savage 1. But let's keep on going. Keep on going. The most important pokes being this, that, and this. Especially with 0. Now that's even more important. But now you have to add this to the list. You gotta add this. This now has use. On hit it was -2. On hit it was -2. On block is -5. On hit it was -2. So what could you do in Savage Stance out -2 being your fastest thing? Not even it's a 10 frame, it's a 12 frame. So your offense was done being -2 in that situation. So there's no reason to go into Savage. Now I'm +3. Now I'm +3 with the ability to go into Savage Stance. It's similar to doing the old version of that or the old version of this. You gotta think about it like that. Bam. But in the very least, I can continue my offense. Now remember how I play when you watch the ranked highlights. I'm always into Savage, despite his frames not being suited for that in Tekken 7 Season 3, 2, right? Now, you see how he's rewarding the playstyle that I argued is the playstyle Miguel's intended for. So clearly when they said, hey, we want to balance characters that aren't picked this much, characters that are lower on the tier list, unofficial tier list, we want to balance those characters more. You see how they, for the first time, actually looked into Miguel and be like, okay, what does he need? How does he play? You know what I mean? They could have looked at previous games like I did. They could have watched my Buff Miguel video. Who knows? But clearly they looked into Miguel, which is why they gave you stuff like a new Savage transition stance. You wouldn't think to do that if you don't actually play and look at the character, you know? So now he can continue his Savage offense. Bam, that's 0. +3, 0, +5. But all that's safe. Bam, +4, +5, +6, +3. Knockdown. Natural combo for 34 damage with a wall splat. That's pretty much safe. Very delayable. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So I can do anything. I can sidestep. I can like +3, and it's still, like I said, has all the problems I talked about. So very good stuff. Very good for Savage Stance users. That. Now again, that's one of the things to where it's 0. It is high. But what kind of offsets that to make it kind of seem too much of a buff is the fact that it's tracking. Now, in my opinion, nothing need to be done with this move. The fact that in Season 2 they already changed this to knock down in that fashion, to where I can get a... Oh, okay, hold on. To where I can get a free something like that, and I can get a plethora of stuff. To where, boom, boom, I can get free hits galore, pretty much. And at certain angles, you can get that at certain angles. Let me see if I can do it. Oh. Something like that. So not only can I get a guaranteed hit, but I can set up to where I can get a launch. So I the optimal Oki situation for Miguel. And they changed it to where it's been like that to where this has been a. I think they changed that on season 2, or has it always been like that? No, I think that was season 2 change, right? Where now it's a full combo, right? So the move has great properties and it's safe too. The only thing is it's a high. It's a high. I mean, it's homing, right? But it's a high, so that's the only bad thing about it. It's a high that's not fast. It's 15 frames fast. But once you actually hit, it's cool. But now once you actually block, it's cool. I mean, you just think of the frames, you know what I mean? And then you go, huh, bam. So I'm 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, bam. You see what I'm saying? And I can hit people because it's 0. It's just like the fact that has been changed, increased by 5 frames on block from -5 to 0. It's like, to me, that wasn't necessary. Like, you can remove that on some hot fix balance update. That's absolutely not necessary, especially since you already made that 0. So what's the point of making this 0? Right? This is far more implications in terms of something in the regular rotation versus that. That's my opinion. But hey, that's bias aside. But let me gather my bias again, and then let me say yes, that's great. Hey, cool. Hey, I'm a Miguel main, so that's tight. This. So they buffed that again. Because they already buffed the damage on that. Didn't they buff the damage on that like twice already? So now, instead of the second hit being 15 frames, it's 17 frames. Then that gives you 25. And let's talk about counter hit, because now it's a possibility to be on a counter hit, when you have stuff like this. When you have stuff like this, where it's uninterruptible, and you have stuff like this on +7, this comes out in 15 frames? Yeah, right? It comes out 15 frames. Probably 16, but I think it comes out in 15 frames. So you have stuff like this on +7, and then I do this. So chances are I'm gonna get that counter hit a lot more often. And don't forget, I have stuff like this, which still works too on +8, still uninterruptible. So chances are I'm gonna get it on a counter hit, since I can flow into my savage better, right? So you consider that, then that would do 25 or 26 damage, you know. And this is all we already know. This is natural. It's all natural low mid, which are very pesky and are good round enders. So they should buff the damage on a round ending move. So it's just like, yo, they're trying to make Miguel win, collect W's, you know. We're here for it. You feel me? It is what it is. But hey, we're smiling. We're smiling. We're showing our teeth, man. We're smiling. So, and all my happiness wore off. Yeah, last night when trying this out, I was just like, whoa, I was livid. You know what I mean? I don't want to use the term lit like the youngins, but I was livid to say that. This is, now, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Let me tell you something. He was definitely overbuffed with this. That, I already talked about in the past 2 years, bro. I already talked so much about how this move is probably Miguel's most underrated string in terms of being natural. A natural move out of Savage stance, a natural mid out of Savage. That's gives you 33 damage. That also leaves you at +8, if I'm not mistaken. Leaves you at +8. A mid out of Savage stance leaves you at +8, which means this was the original move to continue attacking. You can steal so many rounds with just doing stuff like that. You can steal so many rounds. And just get, or just something like that. In the heat of the battle, catch him with that counter hit, bam, bam, delay that or something. It was crazy. Oh, not to mention you can begin it like that, right? Because you can go into Savage stance. Then begin it like that, right? So once you had a good, like even a technique like this has won me so many rounds, just doing stuff like that. When I'm like -+7 to +9 after that, hit or block. And that has won me so many games, bro. So now you make that definitely his best string out of Savage Tension, and arguably his best string in general. I would argue it's this move. Now you made that homing? Are you serious? Are you serious? So now this is +4. I can do that, and I don't have to worry about them stepping. So again, talk about a rectified or a solved tracking situation. I now have a move to just negate that shit completely. Now you just gotta backdash and get the hell out of my space, or you can get fucked up, you know? Excuse my language. +4. Now it'll trade, but you're not able to sidestep it. +4, and it'll trade, but you won't be able to sidestep it. +5, and you can't sidestep it like people like to do. After a single down for one, they like to evade or do a counter or something. +4, that'll trade, but that's the bet. I mean, that strategy, people love that, like sidestepping after that stuff, especially when you don't crouch anymore. You just sidestep, and so now you're forced me to do something like this or something like this, something less optimal, but certainly not this, which until now could be sidestepped in both directions. You know what I mean? Which was a bad hitbox. So now they went ahead and made that homie. They could have at least just increased the hitbox or increased the lateral, you know, box of that move. Like, that's what should have happened. Again, these things need to be buffed in my opinion, but not that much. But we're here for it. That's about it. That's all I gotta say. Also, I have one more thing to say also. I'm gonna make an update video because you guys have been wondering, where have I been? Where's Hops been? You know what I mean? Where's his video? Stuff like that. Or if I'm making videos about other stuff, you know what I mean? Not related to Tekken or even fighting games for that matter. You know, a lot happened. You hear me using a different controller, arcade stick. So I'm gonna talk about it in another video. About where I've been, what's my plans. You guys have been asking for years, yo, are you ever gonna like stream Tekken regularly? Because we just want to see your Miguel. We don't care if you win or lose or it goes well or not. Like, we just want to see it. I see all your comments, you know. But there's been things that are happening that I'm gonna talk about behind the scenes. I'll talk about another video. But we're here again, and we do plan on doing all those things. But I'm just gonna tell you my game plan, my structure. But having said all that, like I said, I've been reading the comments, and I just want to thank all you guys, honestly. In terms of people who are subscribed, people who newly subscribed, people who leave all the comments on my past Oki tutorial videos saying, man, your content is good, I want to see you make more videos. And it seems that even though I don't regularly upload, my older videos really help out new Miguel players, and they let me know that. And I just want to say that I definitely see your comments, and they're appreciated. So thanks for all that. Thanks for all the comments you guys leave. I see it. And I'm gonna have a lot more videos about this season, about other things. I have more Oki tutorials that's gonna come out, and it just so happens it seems like this is a good time for it seems like this is the era of Miguel, so best believe I'm releasing all that. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe again, tell your friends about it, share this video. I'll see you guys later.